Okay, hey everybody. So I've been thinking about the code that that I wrote during class on Wednesday, and we got off to a really good start. We learned a lot about integration testing, but there were a couple of things that I'm not happy with, I'm not satisfied with, and I wanted to spend a little bit more time exploring um, for all of you, for your benefit, with regards to the student project and test-driven development. The first is I've realized, and actually I've had a little bit of correspondence, IMing back and forth with a couple of students, um, about the fact that I didn't make the distinction between unit testing and integration testing very clear. And I can understand that because sort of everything is in process and there's not a lot of setup for the integration testing. So I want to explore that a little bit more. And that's really important to understand, especially for your first project. And furthermore, as I'm looking at my main method, my code over here on the right, I'm just not happy with the way I'm parsing the command line. I There's just something about it that doesn't make sense. I thought about it a little bit more, and I think I realized why I don't like it. And so then I wanted to work with that a little bit more too, because certainly you all will be parsing command lines as part of your projects, and I want to make sure that I provide a good example and good advice for how to write command line parsing that is flexible and correct. So I'm going to start there. I'm going to spend a little bit more time then writing tests for my main method, but then very shortly, I think it's time to turn back to the rest of the student class, the actual behavior, implementing things like the two-string method. So that 'cause that'll be unit tests, and that'll be the real meat, the real focus of the test-driven development. So let's see here. Let's make these a little bit more even. So first of all, I think I'm just going to run all of my tests. I will run my student test just to make sure everything is working okay. Um, Good. That's working okay. And the integration test is working okay. Oops. Didn't like this one. Class not found error. Oh, it's this problem again with the dret. I'm going to pause the recording and fix that. Okay, well, luckily that was pretty easy to fix. What I ended up doing is I went into the build menu and said build project that sort of like rebuilds everything. I'm not too sure why IntelliJ is getting confused with the thinking that it's like a JUnit 4 that I'm using instead of JUnit 5. But well, if it keeps happening, then maybe I'll explore it. But right now I want to focus in on uh, on developing some more of these tests. So, okay, good. Both the student test unit test and the student integration test, which exercises the command line, work okay. And so I was thinking more about my main method over here and the way I'm parsing it. And there's something about like the if args length equals 2, I just don't like. And I was thinking about it, and I'm trying to figure out, well, why don't I like it? I think there's a test that I can write that will fail, um, and it has to do with like if you look at the logic, it occurred to me that uh, if you've got three arguments, then the gender will never be validated. The right, yeah, the gender will never be validated. So I think what will happen is uh, is that we'll get an error. So I'm going to write a test which is let's see here, invalid or unrecognized gender and valid GPA. It's sort of like looking at that code, I think this is going to fail, and obviously this is not what I want. So I will look for, where's my other unrecognized gender? We're just going to start here. Okay. So what I expect when I have, interesting. Okay. Um, so let's see here. Gender is the second argument. So if I say this is unrecognized, oops, got an extra double quotes in there. This should note an unrecognized gender, but I think what will happen is because there are 3 arguments, it'll go down to this branch down here and won't even do that. So let's run this one and see what happens. Aha! It failed because, okay, just as I thought, it didn't encounter or rather the string unrecognized gender wasn't written to standard error. Nothing was. This is wrong. And so then this pointed out just like a fundamental flaw in how I'm parsing the command line arguments. And so then I need to fix this because clearly this is this command line ought to be ought to do the right thing in that it should error and complain about the unrecognized gender. So now, and this really speaks to, what's a good pattern for parsing the command line. I'm going to essentially rewrite all of this logic, which is something that happens, right? Hey, we spent whatever it was, over an hour, developing this code the other night, and now, I realize that there's like kind of a fundamental flaw in it. However, I've got a whole suite of tests that'll back me up, and so now I can confidently make big changes to this code, and knowing that, as long as my that's surprising, as long as my tests all pass, then it behaves the same way, and that's important. So this is more than just a refactor; it's a rewrite. And so what I'm going to do, instead of merely just checking the length of the argument, I'm going to iterate over the arguments, and I'm going to check to see, I'm going to fill in the values that I'm looking for. So I'm going to say let's see here, I don't think I need an index. So for each string arg in args, I'm going to do the following. I'm basically going to say, okay, well, the first argument is the name, and so then if name is null, which means we haven't encountered yet in the loop, and I'm going to create a variable. Oops, I'm going to create a variable here. No, okay, I'll just type it up. Fine. So we're going to have our name. We're going to have the gender. We're going to have the GPA, which, I don't know, we'll start it out with a string. I might change that. And then we're also going to have classes, but you know what? We haven't gotten that far yet, so I'm not going to try to do it now. So I'm going to say if name is null. Oops, I guess we need to assign a value of null. Yeah. Then name equals arg. And then else if gender equals null. We'll need to assign that also. Then gender equals arg. And okay, this needs to be null. And then this needs to be null. Okay. And then otherwise, else if GPA is null, then GPA equals arg. Okay. So that will go and iterate over the arguments and populate those variables. And now I want missing command line arguments if name is null. So if name hasn't been specified. Otherwise, if gender isn't specified, then I'll do that. Otherwise, well, if... Okay, right, okay. So otherwise, if GPA isn't specified... I want to complain about the missing GPA, and you know what? I'm going to move this logic from here. I'm going to move it up here when I actually set the gender. Yeah. Right? Might as well. It's sort of like, we just read it, and then, yeah, that's cool. And then let's see here. So if GPA is missing GPA. Otherwise, and I guess here I can just move this validate GPA logic up here also. And this is kind of nice. You're sort of you're reading in your command line arguments, and then you're validating them syntactically and semantically in terms of GPA along the way. And I don't think we even need this code anymore. Okay, well that wasn't nearly as bad as I thought in terms of changes. Now let's see if my test over here passes this time. Oops, still doesn't like it. Oh, now I see that there's a problem with my test. Right, it's on 3.45. It should be unrecognized, but this is good. Unrecog. Oh goodness, it's still very early. Okay, run it again. And it passed. Okay, that's cool. Now the real test is that we'll run the rest of the tests in the integration test. Oh, look, they all passed. So this is so cool, right? This is why I love having unit tests. I just made like a whole big bunch of changes here, and it's like, oh, I think I got it all right. But now I know I got it all right because all my tests pass. Yay! Okay, so that was good. Okay, so let's commit that, and we'll say um, uh, fixed significant. Well, how about rewrote command line parsing logic so that validation happens regardless of how many arguments. So that, hell, I don't know. It'd be hard to explain what you do. Okay. Sweet. Okay. Now I want to explore the integration test just a little bit further because we haven't done anything with the classes yet, and so uh, we haven't actually created the student object yet. So, you know, when working with when writing tests and doing test-driven development, one of the decisions that you need to make is when you test from what I call the outside in or the inside out. So the outside in is that you start with the user interface, which in this case is the command line tool, and then you sort of build your program. By understanding, hey, how does the user interact with it, and then at some point, do you then sort of get to the more internal code that isn't sort of is a couple steps away from the user, or do you start with the sort of the domain model for your class? Sorry, for your problem that you're looking to solve. Um, I don't know if there's necessarily a right or a wrong way, and I think it's okay to sort of ping pong back and forth at times. I just in general advocate for making sure that people really understand what the user experience is going to be. I know personally, in my career, I've made lots of mistakes, or I've wasted a lot of time by implementing things sort of in the back end or behind the scenes that I think will be necessary, only to find that they're not necessary, or what really the user wants is something slightly different. So maybe it's sort of like a back and forth where you understand a little bit of the user facing and then you understand a little bit of the internal, which is what we've done here. We've started with the user facing, but now ultimately what we want is we want that. We want that Dave example from the class. And actually, I've got one over here. What did I call that? Dave student from assignment. So this is the one from the unit test. And now I'm gonna, basically have that same thing, um, but from the invoke it from the command line. So let's see here. Right, Dave class 6 point. Okay, so then we should just go find the assignment. And then this was project 0. Where was that? Here we go. That'll make it nice and easy. Here are my command line arguments. So when I invoke my main method with, let's see here. Let's go fix this up. The first argument is Dave male with a GPA of 3.64, taking algorithms, operating systems, and Java. Okay, then there should be no text written to standard error. And then so then this empty string, or there is a matcher here. Matchers dot empty or null string, empty string. There we go. Static import that. We want it, sure. That's good. Okay, so nothing written to standard error, and we want exit code to be 0, and what we want written to standard output is, oops, not that, clearly. And what we want is this thing right here. And you know what? I'm just going to put that in its own variable, so it's a little easier to read. Message. And then, oh, sorry. Let's see here. This should be equal to. Okay. Don't need that new line right there. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, clearly, when we run this, I guess like nothing will be written. I don't know. Let's see what happens when we run it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Expected that stuff to be written to standard output, and it's not, which is true, right? So now we've got to implement a bunch of logic within the student class to basically provide this output. So now I'm going to turn away from writing integration tests. I'm going to focus in on unit tests. Actually, as soon as I disable that test so that everything still passes. So now I'm going to turn away from testing the command line, testing the main method, to actually looking at the constructor and the methods of the student class. Okay, so this is all right. So let's see here. Yeah, these are the ones that we wrote like on the very first day. It was we like write one piece of logic, which is that the string contains the student name. Okay. Now let's move on to a next test, which is, I mean, ultimately what we're doing is we're testing the toString method, right? Oddly enough, that's sort of like all our program does. So let's see here. Contains gender pronouns. So let's just sort of go in order. Well, or maybe don't go in order. I don't know. Let's see here. What have we got? It's interesting that the arguments for the constructor don't match necessarily the ones in the command line, but yeah. Okay. Actually, I'm going to do something a little easier. I'm going to do GPA. That might be a little bit easier to start with. To sort of get. Let's ease into this. So then let's see here. I guess I'm going to sort of copy this one. Ick. Yeah, let's do that. I said ick because the GPA is like buried here in this method. Actually, okay, so let's do a little bit of refactoring here because I don't like having this string duplicated twice. So I am going to just introduce a I don't know, should I introduce a constant for it? Then when I have like all of these, it'll be tricky. Maybe I should just create a new student. Let's not use Dave. Let's, as an example here, let's just create a new student. So I'm just going to rename this to be student. I'm going to say new student, and their name, will be name. They will not be taking any classes, so we can say, I guess, new array list. Ugh, empty array list, really? Oof. And then the GPA, okay, and so then we'll say 3.14, and then the gender will be other. We'll just use valid values here for the time being, because we'll need to validate that eventually, but not right now. And this will be the GPA. And now we will assert that it is string value of GPA. Okay, so now we run this. We'll see it fail. So here again, we're writing unit tests now because we are doing things like creating the student object. We're invoking its toString method. We are not. The test is not invoking the main method. So this is the distinction between a unit test and an integration test for the command line program. So for the command line program, the integration test calls the main method, and because the main method does more things, right? It validates things about the GPA. Like for instance, we already know it's a valid double here because compile time it's a you pass in a double, but on the command line in the main method you pass it in as a string. So okay, not surprisingly, it's not there. Okay, now let's just go and fix this. Let's just make it easy. Let's just say, do we need to get GPA? Nah, probably not. Just you know what? But we don't have a GPA field right now. Oh, well, now let's go make one. Okay, this dot GPA equals GPA. Oops. So right, so the whole idea here is that the toString method needs to know the GPA of the student. It's passed in the constructor, and so we store it in a field so that we can later reference it in an instance method. Okay, that looks good. And it's final because it's assigned in the constructor and it's never changed again. Thank you, IntelliJ, for doing that, for being smart. Okay, that passes now. Now notice that the toString method, if we actually looked at that toString, it would just be like name, GPA. That's clearly not right. But I think that's good enough for now. It makes the test pass. It makes this test pass, and you know what? Let's continue on though. I keep doing that. You don't need to be public anymore. Contains name and GPA. And here, we'll just have like this same student again. And now we will validate that both the that we sort of have the right the string, because we do want to say we want the toString to have we'll just have it do this much. So name has a GPA of whatever. And so now we want this to contain the string. We don't need this anymore. And so sorry, you know what? I don't know if it's better to have them side by side to go back and forth, but we want to say name has is it lowercase GPA or uppercase GPA? The GPA, yep. GPA, oops, of GPA. Okay, and so now if we run this, right, because right now, oops, want that to be a space. Right now, we're just squishing them together over here in the implementation. So then I'm just going to copy this over here and put it into the toString method, which I can get to easily right to this, and say I could just reference the field directly and like this. Okay. Now if we run it, cool, it passes. Okay, now we're slowly starting to build up the functionality of our toString method based on the on whatever's passed there. And this stuff has been super easy, right? Because we're just spitting back out whatever was passed in. Let's attack. Yeah, let's attack this part next, and it's taking 3 classes, and then the names of the classes, because that will be interesting, I think. Okay. So let's commit what we've got right now. And so then for my IT, I'm just going to say added ultimate example from the assignment. And then for these, I'm going to say toString contains name and GPA. Okay. Now let's take a look at the classes. So, yeah. Let's start with the easy case. So, public, no, not going to be public anymore. Avoid student taking 0 classes. Okay. We'll start off here. This is a student taking 0 classes. Okay. And let's see here. We want the toString to contain, well, is taking 0 classes, period. Okay. Clearly fails. Okay, well now let's figure out what to do with the classes. Well, I mean, I could cheat. I'm going to say this, and it's taking 0 classes. This is a sign of me not really wanting to think about the logic of what it'll take to format that until I have more tests to prove that the logic's right. So I'm going to be lazy. I mean, oh, maybe it's not lazy. Maybe it's like smart, but I think it's lazy. Taking one class. And let's see here. These will be classes. So, and string class name equals class 1. Classes dot add class name. I'm gonna fix this code in a moment. And to make sure to, let's see here, pass that in. Okay, and it's taking one class name. So now if we run this, it should fail. Yeah, it's always taking 0 classes. Okay. Okay, well now let's dive into this and see what we need to do. First of all, let's see here. I know I'll need to store the classes into a field because I'm going to reference it later in the toString. So I will do that. Array list of string. I don't want that to be an array list, but I'll fix that later. It doesn't need to be an array list. It's just the implementation, right? And now down here, okay. So what do I need to do? I need to change this. I need to change this. Okay. So we know that that part is right. And then instead of 0, this is going to be the number of classes. So this dot classes dot size. And actually, this should still, since I made that little change, this should still work. This 0 classes 1 should still work. All right, good, I did that right. But now the one with 1 class clearly, well, it should work a little better because it's saying actually got, and it's taking 1 class. But what's different here? And actually, you can click this to see the difference. It makes it really obvious. It's taking 1 class, but got, yeah, taking 1 classes. Okay. So now I need to say this. This code is getting messy. So, I don't know. Let's use the ternary operator. What kind of wonderfulness is that? Actually, I don't want to use that. Here we go. I don't know if I like this code or not. So basically, actually, I'm going to move this into a variable. This is getting like a big old num classes. If the num classes equals 1, then I don't want anything. I just want to say class. Otherwise, it'll be classes. Oops, I totally didn't do that right. There we go. Otherwise, it's going to be classes. Ah, this code. I'm just not happy with it. But it might work, and so then we can fix it later. Okay, it's taking one class, and now I need to have the semicolon again. Okay, so now I need to say. Okay, so I think I've outgrown this whole concatenating strings thing together. So I need to fix that, and I can do this. I think there's a way to say replace plus with string builder.append. Yes. Oh, but that's really hard to read. Okay, so string builder is a way to like build up a string, and well, that's not very helpful. It's a object that lets you easily append things. So we're going to append. Okay, and we're not going to. Yeah. Let's get rid of the call to toString here at the end, and we're going to return sb.toString. And then, okay, we're going to append, let's just do that much. That's kind of nice and easy to read. And then SB is taking that number of class. And now I'm going to, fix it. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that ternary operator. I just think it makes the card. Well, actually, the code maybe that's okay. Because that's not so hard to read, is it? I guess not. Now we just need to do the the thing with the semicolon in the class. So we say if num class is greater than 0. Then we want then we want to have the colon space, and here's the number of classes. And then it's greater than 0. Then do that, and now we need to append the name of every class that they're taking. So let's just use a for loop. Oh, look, for each. Well, that's neat, but hard to read. String class name in sting. This dot classes. Yeah, I don't know. And then SB dot append class name. And append the period, and then we do that. Right? This is getting. Yeah, I've written worse code, but it's still kind of hairy. Let's see if that makes taking one class work. Ooh, it does. Does 0 classes still work? As you can tell, there's always that pleasant surprise in my voice when things work. Ooh, 0 classes still works. Huh. Okay, everything is working so far. I know we're not done yet, but this is pretty good. I'm going to save my progress because stuff is working. So let's see here. Include class names in the toString method. Okay. Oh, my battery's getting a little bit low. I'm going to pause the recording and plug in. Okay, good. We're back. We're plugged in. Okay, what is the next test? The next test is 2 classes. Boy, my voice just cracked. Because why not? Okay, so we're going to duplicate that. It's taking 2 classes. Oh, you know what? Oh, wasn't I going to refactor some stuff? I was, one more time in the refactor. Actually, let's inline some of these. We don't really care about the name. We don't care about that. I'll do the same thing up here. Just inline those. So what we do care is about the classes. So this will be class name 1. Just rename that to class name 1. And then we'll have class name 2 also, and put that in there. And let's see here. This should be taking 2 classes, class name 1 plus and class name 2. Period. Oops, didn't like something. Got 2 pluses. Okay, let's run this one. Fails. String containing is taking 2 classes, class 1, and class 1. Oh, because I didn't change this. Yes. And right now it's just class 1, class 1. Actually, let's rerun that one more time. It should be class 1, class 2. Good. It is? Okay, so that's I need to put that and in there. Okay, let's see here. So now instead of just appending each class name, now we've got to put the and in there. Well, let's see here. And of course, you're probably all yelling at the screen right now saying, yeah, but you're going to have commas in there also, and how do you do this logic? I don't know. Let's see here. And this is something that, I do this every summer, right? And so I should have like a very quick answer right now. Here's what I'm gonna try. What if I special cased it? I don't know. Oh well, because the and is at the second to last element, so in the array. So how about the following? So instead of a for loop, I'm going to change it to an indexed for loop. That's neat. Okay, so now I'm going to say, okay, before I append it, I'm going to say if I, is the second to last element. So if I equals strings.size. I'm going to call this num classes. Oh wait, this is num classes. I already got that. I don't need that. I can say num classes. Num classes. So if it equals num classes -1, then sb.append and. Right, so if it's the second to last, and I think this will work for the 3 case also, but whatever. Oh, and then this is this dot classes. Yeah, let's give that a try. Nice. Okay, cool. That'll work for now. Let's try the. Oh, let's go ahead and run everything else. Oh, something broke. One class broke. Oh, oops, there's an and there. Why is there an and there? Oh, maybe it's -2? No, it's not this, because it's like, this is just saying whenever you get to the end of the array, this logic is wrong. This is why you have tests, right? I got it working in one scenario, but now it's working someplace else, and I found out about it in seconds instead of like, oh, I gotta go run a bunch of things on my command line, or I need to trust that my logic is right. Okay. I don't know. Let's. I'm feeling. I don't know. Gee, there ought to be a way to do this. Maybe this is only in the case where you've got more than one. Maybe try that. So then if I say if num classes equals 1, then just simply append this dot classes dot get 0. Otherwise, do this for loop. You know, we'll see. Okay, that made that one pass. How about the rest of them? Okay, the rest of them pass too. That's good enough. Okay, I'm gonna make another checkpoint here because it's working. Oh, you know what? I want to refactor. I want to fix some things. And what I want to refactor is the type of classes that's sent in. So this the sort of the code that comes out of the box has this as an array list. That's to make it easy to understand. That's like, hey, here's the type that you should use. I want to turn this into a plain old list. Having it as array list leaks the implementation out, and you don't want to. Who cares how it's stored internally? Yep, Java utilist. Yeah. And now this way I can, let's just make sure it's all running okay. Cool. Now I want to just, I don't know, change some things about how classes is used. So instead of, I'll pause here for a moment. Yeah, we're back. So I'm gonna just fix some stuff over here in my test. Instead of all these like new array lists, you can use something called collections empty list, and I'm just going to static import that. Oh, interesting. On demand static import for collections. Nice. And so then this makes things a little easier. Here I can also replace this call right here with there's this thing called lists of that takes a variable number of arguments, which is kind of neat. So now I can just say this. Actually, what is this guy telling me here? Wrap classes with array list. No, what does that even do? That's not what I want. Okay. Oh, I see. Because list of I think is immutable. You can't change it or something. That's all right. And okay, I don't know. I think that's a little easier to read. And then here it's another array list. Okay, so all these empty array lists I want to then replace, and so then I'll do an edit. Where's replace? I'm sorry, I know it's like Command R. So then we'll say empty list. I think that'll work. Yay. Okay, now down here though, yeah, that one I don't like so much, but I'll just use that list of a thing again. Okay, nice. So, I'm refactoring, I'm making the code a little easier to read. List of, yeah. And then, let's just move that up here and say list of class name. Right, there's just a little less code to read here, and I like using some of these newer APIs like list.of. Again, we'll just change this here. Just making stuff a little easier to read. I have to admit it's kind of weird just me doing this all by myself here on a Saturday morning and no one else no one else even on the Zoom. I kind of feel like I'm Bob Ross, painting this picture. I got my happy little code here and everything. But I am no Bob Ross in any respect, any sense of the word. The hair doesn't come close, the personality and demeanor doesn't come close, and certainly the quality of the output nowhere near it. I still have 2 warnings. What is it telling me about? So you can click there and find out. Unused import statement. Well, fix that. Okay. Enable optimize on the fly. Yes. Optimize my imports. Yay. Okay, good. So everything's green here. I'm going to look over here. We got something here. 1 warning. What's my warning? Parameter gender is never used. Yep, we'll get there. Okay, I'll keep that warning for the time being. Okay, so just one more time, making sure that our student test works. And it does. That's awesome. You may have noticed that I haven't been running the integration test lately. And I can do it right now when I think about it. But, I'm okay not running it because I don't know why there's debug there. Because I haven't changed anything that impacts the test, right? The integration test. Our main method doesn't create a student yet, so I wouldn't expect anything to break. I'm just focusing in on the constructor and the toString method of the student class. Um, so there wasn't really any need to run the integration test, but I guess it's a good idea to do it every once in a while. Um, so I'll say refactored code to use a list in more places, how about to replace, oops, come on, what am I doing here? Doesn't go to the end? Huh, okay. To replace uses of array list with list. It cleans the code a little bit. Makes it nicer. Okay, now we need to do 3 classes. Things might get a little bit more interesting. Three classes. Okay, this will be class 3. I'll remember to change the value this time. 3. Class name 3. And it's taking 3 classes. 3 classes. Class name 1. And this is where we've got all the commas and the Oxford comma and everything like that. So class name 1, comma, class name 2, comma, and class name 3. Yeah, I think that's right. Let's run the test. It'll fail, but let's just make sure that the that the output is what we expect. Expected taking 3 classes, class 1, class 2, and class 3. All the commas and periods look right. Okay. And instead what we got is blah and blah. Okay. Nice. So let's go back to our toString method. And we've got all this stuff here. Okay. So now this is the one case. I don't know. I don't know. Should I do the easy case? So if num class is equal to, I don't know. I did it for 1. It was probably good enough. sp.append this dot classes get 0. Oops. Get 0. sp.append and sp.append this dot classes get index 1. Does 2 classes still work? It does. Okay. And now for 3, I want to, let's see here. Here I want to say sp.append comma, because it'll be that and that and that. Unless it's the last one. If I... Oh, interesting. Let's do this. Is last class. Oops. It's kind of hard to read. Okay, so if it is the last class, do this. If it's not the last class, append the comma. Okay, give that a try. So let's see here. 3 classes. Nope, it didn't like. Oh, there's an extra space someplace. I don't think right? Because it's taking 3 classes, class 1, class 2, space, and class 3. I don't think we need the, oops. Okay, well, I'll rerun it. I don't think we need that extra space there. Hey, and it worked. Let's run all of them. See, yep, everything is still passing. This method's getting big. Gross. Um, hmm. The method is too long, I guess is what I'm saying. Because rule of thumb is that every method should fit on one screen. And even though I suppose maybe the font's a little bit big, this one just does seem kind of long. And it's got like all this logic in here. I'm going to put this into another method. But in order to extract that, I am going to move this variable. Oops, what did I just do here? I'm going to I'm over there. What am I doing? Okay, I'm going to move this variable down here, and it kind of does like having num classes. Okay, fair enough. Let's see here. Okay, and so then all of this I'm going to extract into a method. Called append classes. Okay, and the sum classes I really don't need to send in because it deals with the classes variable down there. So I'm just going to inline this and see what happens. Inline and remove the variable. No. Inline's reference only, keep the variable. Yes. Okay. Oh, and then I don't. That's really not what I meant. Okay. And then. Oh, whatever. And then I can just say, I'm just going to get rid of this. And then I'm going to replace num classes with that. And then get rid of this thing. Safe delete that. There we go. That's, oops. Nice. SB, got it wrong. Okay. Yeah, I think that cleans up the code nicely. Right, because now if you look at toString, it's just got, that. This is a little bit easier to read. I gotta admit, all these calls to append here, it's kind of a mess. I don't know. Well, I'll run my test again, and we'll see what happens. Let's see here that the student test it is. Okay, well, everybody still runs. That was a nice little refactoring right there. Okay, and so I think that's classes. We got that, so that's good. And I don't know, should we test 4 classes? Well, why not? It should be pretty easy. So I expect this is the test I expect to pass. But it's probably still good for me to just to make sure that everything works. 4 classes, do this. 4 class 4. It's taking 4 classes. I feel like I want an episode of Sesame Street from the 70s. 4. Okay. Class, we want 3 here, and then we'll have class 4 over here. Okay. Nice. Okay, let's run this one. Cool. Okay, good. That worked. Okay, I'm pretty confident then that we have the logic right for printing the number of classes. That is super fly. Okay, and so then what did we do? We refactored. Well, actually, we extracted the logic for formatting the number of classes, or the classes, a student's class. How come? Oh, interesting. Control, so this makes the width bigger. It used to go to the end of the line. The student's classes into its own method to make it easier to read. Okay, neat. So this is this is the whole red green refactor, and it's interesting to note that we haven't had enough code to be able to refactor recently. Actually we did some refactoring in the main method, I guess, but we're just now that we've got more logic, now that things have gotten more interesting and more complex, and this is, I hope, illustrative of how test-driven development works. Okay, so meanwhile, back at the ranch, I think we need to do gender next. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to check in where we are in our long-suffering Dave student to see sort of how close we are to getting this thing to work. Because this is sort of our North Star, right? This is what we're guiding towards. So let's see here. What have we got? Okay, so It has those things. Oh, awesome, good. Now this is showing us that yes, the first part of it is working, and so now we just need to do the he says this class is too much work. Okay, well, this is pretty nice. Okay, good. So then I'm going to undo this change to restore that. Yes, please. That's why I added you. Okay. So now, let's see here. Nope, I still need to make those public. Okay, now let's focus on the gender pronoun. Um, and so then other gender pronoun is well, actually. So I mean, I think what I want to write is gender pronoun. Well, toString contains gender pronoun. Gender pronoun. So then, in the case of, and let me just find. Well, let's create a new student. Oops, student equals new student. Okay, name, empty list, GPA 3.45, and the gender is other. We want to assert that student.toString contains string they, and I believe it's capital they. Because yeah, it's the beginning of the sentence. Okay. So then this will fail. Okay. So okay, I'm thinking here because there's a couple things that I want to do. I'm thinking that we should probably have like a separate. I don't know. Should we have like a separate function that we test that returns the gender pronoun? This is another place where I really want to do some refactoring. Because here's the thing. Maybe I should. Okay. Yeah. Let's back our way into it. Let's explore a little bit more. So okay. So to fix this, let's see here. They do that, and then after the period, actually the period probably needs a couple of spaces after it. I always put two spaces after my end of a sentence. Okay, and now we're going to, you know what? After my experience with the pen classes, I'm just going to have a pen gender pronoun. I'm going to try to write all the code inline here because that'll just get necessary. Pronoun to the string builder. Okay, and let's just create that method there. Okay, well we can. I don't know. We can make it pass easily just by doing that. Actually, that'll verify some things about my code. Okay. 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 And then this will be female gender pronoun, and so then if it's the student is female, oops, should be she. This will fail. Yep, because it's always they. Okay, well, so then let's just get this to work. I think. Let's see here. Oh, okay. So what we need to do is we need to store the pronoun, or sorry, store the gender here. This dot gender equals gender. String gender, and then now if we go to append gender pronoun, we can do a switch on the gender, and then case other, then we do this break, I don't know, case female. SB.append. She break. You should always have a default case. Throw new unsupported operation exception. Unrecognized gender. This dot gender. Well, whatever. Case statements? Really? Ugh. Okay. Well, anyway, let's figure it out. Okay, well, that passed, and then the other probably passes too. Yeah, I'm gonna let's implement the. Oh well, but okay. So let's just do the male one. But then I wanna really step back and take a look at this because I do not like what I'm seeing. So this one should throw that. Right. So then. Yeah, there's some things about this particular code they don't like, but we'll go back and refactor it shortly. Okay, so this all passes. Super great. Okay, so this works. I'm going to commit it because I want to make commit this because it's working. Implement gender pronoun, or well, add gender pronoun to the toString. Okay, so here's the thing. There's a bunch of stuff that I don't like about this code. It has these are magic constants. This is like you have to know that the code that what you pass in for the value of gender has to be one of these strings. And actually, and by the way, like right, they're supposed to be case insensitive. And so I'm going to make a command decision here that string is while it sort of made sense in the beginning, representing the string as a gender doesn't make any sense anymore. Instead, what I'm going to use is something called an enum. I don't know if you studied enums in C or in C++, they have them too, but the whole idea is that you've got a particular type and there are only specific instances of that type. And so I'm going to create this enum for gender, and it's going to have 3 values, other, female, and male. So, and this is going to be some surgery, and it's actually probably going to, have a lot of impacts over here. Oh, and there's actually another thing I like about that, is that now I won't, because I was about to write a test that says, oh, what happens when I send in a value of gender for in the constructor which isn't recognized, like they did in the command line. I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to have to put the logic for validating or recognizing the gender inside the student. Inside the constructor or inside the toString or something like that. I think I just want to just always know that I'm getting a recognized value of the gender. So here's what I'm going to do. Major surgery. Okay, I'm going to make something called gender. Looks like I already have one, but that's not what I want. I want to create an enum. Is this going to create as a top level class? That's really, I want to make it like an inner class. But you know what? No, I'm not. That's a little bit beyond here. Right here in the source directory, I don't want it in the IT. I want it in the source main. I do want to add it to Git. Thanks for asking. Okay. No. I just created it. Please import it. Oh, it added it to someplace else, didn't it? Okay. Sorry, that was, shoot, I messed that up. Okay. I put it over an appointment book by mistake. Roll back, delete it from over there. Nice. Okay. Let's try putting it in the right place. I'm going to create an enum gender. I'm going to create it in student main, not over in the IT. Okay, now is it a little happier? Yeah. Okay. So now gender is going to be a gender, and apparently I have two of those. Okay. And 12 related problems. No kidding. It's probably complaining about the unit tests. Yes. 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 Okay. So then, I am. Well, let's just go ahead and do this. So we're going to have a couple of values. Well, we're going to have several values. We are going to have other. We're going to have female, and we're going to have male. It's probably complaining about they aren't used. Yes, that is true. Hold your horses, IntelliJ. I'm going to use them here shortly. I am going to first. I'm going to take care of like this code right here. So this, I'm just going to say gender.other. What doesn't it like there? An enum switch case label must be the unqualified. What? We'll fix it. I don't know. So, oh, I see. Oh, interesting. I did not know that. Okay. Female, male. Okay. Are there other problems here? 2 warnings. Line 10. Okay, yeah. And then, okay, so it's complaining about the stuff there. That's completely understandable. Okay, so now, yes, lots of problems here. I'm going to replace. Actually, I'm going to do it the first time. Okay, so sorry. I'm just going to do a couple of these. Oh, going to replace this with gender.other. Yeah, he's going to replace this with gender.male. Gender.male. Okay, and now I'm going to do a bunch of string replacing and such. Okay, so I'm going to replace this. Replace other with gender.other. Replace all. Sweet. And there's still a couple of problems left. Okay, there's a female. So gender.female and then gender.male. Oh, this is okay. I'm much happier with this code. Okay, let's run it again. Right, you're getting rid of these magic strings. It's like, hey, here's some constant that has a special value. In this case, an enum is much better. Is a much tidier solution. It's much and it's safer, right? And you don't have to worry about passing in typing in something. We'll eventually go back to the integration test and and uh, get all this working and use it there too. But that's going to be in a little bit. Okay. Sweet. Everything's working. Okay. I'm just going to run the integration test. It shouldn't make any difference, right? We didn't change anything that would impact the integration test. Everything is still compiling. But okay, good. Everything's running there. Nice. Okay. Okay. So introduce an enum for the gender. Cool. Okay. And let's see here. What's next? Let's go back to the Dave. I guess we need to do the says part. Well, I think we're almost done here. With the student class, or with the unit test, now we need to go back to the integration test and hook up everything up with the command line. So let's see here. Where's that disabled one? Oops. I'm looking at the right one, right? Disabled. Yes, where is that? There we go. Can I run this even though it's disabled if we do it explicitly? Probably just tells me it's disabled. Oh, no, it did. Okay, sweet. Okay, yep, there it is. This class is too much work. Well, okay, that's easy. Let's go. Okay, let's just add another test down here to say that all students. Oops. ToString contains what student says. Okay, doesn't matter. Oops. Doesn't matter anything about the student because they all say contains, says this class is too much work. Oops, where is the... this class is too much work. Yep, I think that's right. Okay, now if we got that. Nice. Actually, you know what? Since the says method is, there's probably something else another test that I should write. Avoid all students say this class is too much work. Okay. There we go. Student dot. There's that says method. And actually it says it's equal to this class is too much work. I think that's what that says. Okay. Let's see what that is. Get that one working first. Not implemented yet. Yes. What do they say? They all say this class is too much work. Come on, one more. What did I just do? There you go. Sweet. And now this one will still fail. So here again, this is test-driven development. You work in very little pieces. You work in these little steps. You go back and forth. You write a test. You write some code. You write you make a pass. You go back and forth. Yes, it might seem slower than just sort of yes, I've got it all in my mind. And for this simple assignment, yes, that's probably true. But the whole idea here is that you're looking to work methodically, and I suppose it's slowly, but then you have confidence along the way, right? So I'm running my tests all the time. I can do these big refactorings like add gender, and it's relatively safe and straightforward to do so. So this is why I like it, and I hope that you get to experience it also. Whether you like it or not, that's up to you. But for the course, hey, I have no way of validating that yes, that yes, you've done test-driven development as opposed to just writing your unit tests. But I encourage you to try it, right? It's like you're in college; it's time to experiment with things like test-driven development. So anyway, so now I implemented the says functionality. That passes. Okay, moment of truth. Does if I get rid of that disabled test, there it is. If I get rid of this, does it work? Survey says. Sweet! Okay. Run all your tests. Yay! Okay, so then, I've got that. The ultimate test is, my North Star is passing. I'm trying to think, are there any more tests that I can write? See, this is how you know that you're done. You know that you're done when you can't think of any more tests to write and you can't think of any more code to refactor, because remember, refactoring code doesn't change functionality, it just restructures the code. I think I've got it all, right? I've tested everything regarding the formatting of the toString, the number of classes, the gender pronoun. I think we're good. Yeah. Okay. So now it's time to go. I'm gonna commit that. Okay. Completed the implementation of the toString method. So now it's time to go back to the integration tests and polish them off and figure out what else we need to do here. Okay. So now I'm gonna go. We have a North Star test here, and let's just see how we're doing against all this. Yeah, right. We're expecting it to print that out, and it's printing nothing because, well, we're not printing anything yet. Okay, so let's figure out where we need to go next. Well, actually, we haven't validated anything about what's written to the command line. Okay, so or rather, what's actually printed out. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say name. I don't know, how incremental should I be? I mean, really, at this point, because I've done all the validation up here. I wonder if I really need to write more tests, or if it's just a matter of doing the implementation to get the ultimate test working. Because I have validated everything, right? I guess I haven't done case insensitive genders. Maybe that's one I should do. And actually, oh, interesting. Yeah, I haven't done case insensitive genders, so I should, I guess, do that. Yeah. Um, void gender is case. Do I need to do it for each gender? How to do that? So let's see here, because right now, okay. So let's see here. Other gender is case insensitive, and so then I want a valid command line, just like this one. And let's see here. I don't want any classes. And here I want the gender to be case insensitive, so capital O other. And here I expect that result.get text written to standard error does not contain string. What was that called? Unrecognized. Crud. Oh, I guess it's just a string, right? Okay. And assert that. I'm just going to make sure that otherwise everything is okay. Get exit code equal to 0. Okay, right. We expected that it didn't contain unrecognized gender, and it did. Okay, this is good. Okay, now back to my main method. Gosh, I haven't looked at this in like 3 days. I don't remember anything about it. Let's just go to our main method. Here is recognize gender. Okay, oh, I guess we need equals ignore case here. I'm going to do this one at a time, as always, being test driven. Going to resist the urge to do all that. Okay. Okay, so that is that there. I am going to do a little bit of refactoring here. I'm going to call this case sensitive gender. And then I am going to get my name out of there. I'm going to put this into its own method, which is assert case insensitive gender is supported. No, it's always trying to add more things to my signature for some reason. I don't know. Okay, so now I'm going to do this. I'm going to just rerun this test again. Make sure that's okay. Okay, and now I'm going to try it for... I suppose I could put all these in one test method. I don't know. Female. This one fails because female is not case sensitive equals equals ignore case. Okay, and then mail. Oops, that's not even a word. There we go. And try this one. Okay, and then equals ignore case blah. That line is getting super long. We can fix it later though. Okay, sweet. So then, okay, handle support case insensitive gender on the command line. Oops, I wonder what, found one error. What was the error? Wait a second. I wonder what the error is. Okay, that was weird. I wonder what it was complaining about. Let's try that again. Review. Oh, okay. It's just saying that it failed before. Oh, yeah. I'm not quite ready to take that out yet. Okay, actually, okay. This is why it's always good to sort of check on the errors just to make sure. Yeah, I didn't run all my tests before committing. Another no-no. But hey, luckily my tools are giving me feedback. They're letting me know it's like, hey, I saw some problems. Are you sure? This is good. This is a good thing. And it gave me rapid feedback. So here in a matter of mere seconds, I am able to now confidently pick my stuff. And just as you'll recall, because I enabled. Let's see here. Do I have? No. Let's just go ahead and look at my repository here. Because I have those workflows enabled, those actions enabled, every time that I make a check-in, it's pretty much like every 8 or so minutes. All the code is automatically run, and all the tests are automatically run, so I know that in a clean room environment, I've got everything working. Okay, excellent. Now, I think that's all the command line validation that I need to do. Now it's time to get this this test running for real. And and by the way, I don't feel the need to test one class, zero class. I've already got tests for that. I've already got tests for that in my unit tests. I think that's sufficient. So let's see if we can just get this this one working, which actually might not be an easy task because ultimately what I need to do here is I need to create a student. Oops, new student, and I need to create it. Let's see here. I've got name, gender, as a string, and GPA as a string. Okay, I need to fix some things here. This is cool. So ultimately, what I need is name. I need classes too. Name, classes, GPA, gender. Okay, I have to do a little bit of surgery here, so it's going to be a while before I can run the test, and that's fine. Okay, I need classes, so I'm going to need a list. Actually, wait a second. What am I doing there? I can just have IntelliJ create it for me. Create. Oh, it doesn't. Why doesn't it let me create the variable? Interesting. A list of string, which is the classes. Classes is going to equal a new array list, which is empty. And then for gender and GPA, well, GPA now needs to be a double, and gender needs to be a gender. And now it's like, what's going on? Okay, so this, let's make this a big D double, and then Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to change some stuff here. So gender equals, okay, now I'm going to change my isRecognized gender to, instead of just returning a Boolean, it's going to return the gender object, the gender enum. So I'm going to say gender equals, and I'm going to change this from, instead of isRecognized gender, I'm going to say parse gender from the argument. And just one of them, thank you. And I'm going to do this here. Well, actually, no. Here I'm going to. And I don't know. Should I have this thing return null if gender isn't recognized? Okay. Oh, and it's going to be arg now. If gender equals null, maybe. Yeah. How about it? Okay, and now parse gender, I need to change. I basically need to rewrite. This is going to return a gender. And now I got to break this thing up. Okay. Yeah, some major code here. So if gender equals, in our case, other, then return gender.other. Else if, oops, genders equals, in our case, female, then return gender.female. Else if, oops, gender equals, in our case, male, return gender.male. Else return null. Hey, I could throw an exception here. I could print the error message. I think just returning null is fine. Okay. And let's see here. Is this code happier now? This code is happier now. Same thing with GPA. Okay, so if GPA hasn't been assigned, then interesting. Validate GPA does print out the error messages. Okay. Well, that's fine. Oh, interesting. And this is where, we do this out of bounds checking. We could do this in the constructor for the maybe we'll refactor that. That's a good point. We didn't actually validate the GPA as part of the student unit tests, and maybe we should. I don't know, but it's getting kind of late. I've been talking for a long time, so I don't know if I'll do that or not. Let's just do that. And this is not GPA. This is arg. And so now this is going to return a double. And here return GPA. Otherwise, this is actually unreachable code, but we'll just have a return null. I suppose, yeah, I could have it throw some exception saying, "How I don't expect to get down here," but again, I'm getting tired. Maybe I need some more breakfast or something. Hey, this is the reality, right? You do code, you get tired sometimes. Okay, good. But now I think all of the same stuff is working. So, actually, I just made a whole bunch of changes to the the logic. I want to run all my integration tests again and see if I broke anything. I didn't, really. The only thing that doesn't work is, okay, good for me. See, again, tests, right? You can make these changes and feel confident about it, even if it's, early on a Saturday morning, you're not fully caffeinated. Well then, okay. This should be easy now. Now we just say this. We say system.out.println student.toString. And, gee, I think that might be it. Well, no, I might be getting ahead of myself here. Nope, it doesn't like it. What doesn't it like? I bet it's the 2 periods. Yep, it's always the 2 periods. 0 classes, and he says this is too much. Oh, yeah, right. We haven't taken any classes yet because I haven't populated the classes. So, I think I just do that up here. Oh, I probably should have... Oh well. I should have committed after I did all that, but anyway. Okay, so if GPA is not null, then otherwise we've got classes. So classes.add arg. And now let me run everything. Now it fails probably because, yep, I need an extra space in the test. My test didn't have two spaces after he says. Now once more with feeling. Oh, still doesn't like it. What doesn't it like? Wait, there's a new line? Oh, because I just got that print line. That is true. Okay, so I should expect a new line there. Yeah, and hey, sometimes it's okay to adjust your test based on what happens in the real world, what happens in the program. It's like, oh yeah, right. And everything's passing now. Super cool. Okay. Oh, it's even telling me that I don't need to have the call to two string. Well, that's nice. And there's one other warning. What is it? Unboxing of GPA may produce null pointer exception. Well, that's true. It's possible, from a code analysis. Yeah, I'll just do return. See, because the oh wait, really? Okay. So from a code analysis standpoint, the Java compiler says, hey, wait a second, it's possible that the value of GPA can be null, and so when I convert it from the capital D double to little d double, you might get a null pointer exception. We know that's not the case because we're going to do system.exits along the way, but the compiler doesn't know that. And so then I'm just going to do that then to tell the compiler, yeah, you're never going to get down here with a null value. And now it's green, right? Okay, that's kind of nice. So that code is green. My gender is green. Anything about the test over here that can be cleaned up? That's green. My student, I haven't changed it at all, so it's still green. Nice. I think we're done. Because again, okay, are there any other tests that I can think of? And again, it's like, well, I've done all the bounds checking. I think the one thing that I could do is add the validation of the GPA to the student class, which I think that would be a reasonable thing to do. But I'm done. This is good enough. Okay, anyway, so I'm going to commit this, and then I'm going to finish up because I got other things to do on my Saturday morning, especially on the 4th of July weekend. So, create the student object from the main method. The main method, and we're done. Nice. So here's the here's what I hope you got out of this bonus lecture today. I hope you got a feeling for the distinction between integration tests and unit tests. We saw a lot more unit testing here in that we were sort of building out the logic of the student program, and we were doing that using just by calling the constructor and then validating the toString method, right? Because that is the logic that's there in the student class, and we didn't need to do that from the command line. As a matter of fact, it would have been just, I don't know, it might have been a little bit more awkward, but it's not as targeted, right? So the unit tests are really targeted on the student class. And then, when we consider the integration tests that we wrote for the main method, what we were validating there is the logic that's in the main method. All of the command line parsing, all of the validation of like, hey, is it a recognized gender, all that kind of stuff. And again, the integration tests focus on the main method and what it's doing. It doesn't, they don't invoke the student class directly. They just, deal with the inputs and outputs to the main method. So anyway, and I think that is it. I will stop the recording and post this. I hope to see you all in class on Wednesday. On Wednesday, we're going to start doing pair programming, which I think will be a cool experience, and you'll have an opportunity to write more code there, and so you won't be watching me do it so much. So have a fun and safe 4th of July weekend, and I will see you later. Bye.